You're listening to the Radio Wammo Breakfast, only on Kiwi.
Well, it's a name that you might be hearing a little bit more of around these parts very soon. Nadine Loren is my next guest, joining me in the Kiwi studio. Swiss-born Kiwi, now living in LA. I think that's how we describe you. Hello, good morning.
Hi, how are you?
Very, very well. Yes, can you explain that your New Zealand heritage?
Sure.
Yeah.
My mum was actually brought up in New Zealand, and then my dad is full German, and so when I was born in Switzerland because it was the closest hospital from Germany where we were living.
Yeah.
Born in Switzerland, then grew up in Germany till I was 8, and then came over here.
And how long were you here in New Zealand? Where did you settle?
Until 6 years ago. 5.5 years ago now.
Yeah.
So.
And whereabouts?
Here in Auckland.
Okay. Yeah.
And Epsom Girls Grammar School, all that stuff.
Yeah. So you did your schooling here in Auckland, and what, did you go to LA?
Auckland University.
Right.
After that, and after I did a semester at Melbourne University, and then I moved to LA pretty much after that.
What drew you to LA?
Well, I was acting at the time, as well as singing, and I got a role in the movie Without a Paddle, just a small role, but big enough to get me my SAG card and so forth.
That was Seth Green in that one?
Seth Green and Matthew Lillard and so forth. And the director, Steve Brill, actually said to me, if you're serious about acting, you really should move to LA. And sort of,
well, that's where
not really thinking about it, I went, oh, okay.
That's the dream that's been followed for almost 100 years.
Yeah,
isn't it?
it is that dream. And it's funny because you don't really, it's going to be hard, but you don't really think about all the things like, for instance, opening a bank account or getting a doctor and things like that. Things like that are really the hardest parts of getting your green card, because having a work permit allows you to work for one employer. Yeah. And I think it's a common dilemma, I think, for Kiwis, because Kiwis tend to do a lot of different things. You're not allowed to do that there. You have to work for one employer, and that's it. You didn't
go into one of those green card lotteries?
I wish I'd won it. I did go in, and I kept entering it. The most I've ever won is a tea towel and those sort of things. So it's not really.
Then click on one of those web banners that says, "Get your green card here." Flash, flash.
I have not. I know a lot of people who have won their green card like that.
Really?
Yeah, a lot.
Oh, it happens.
Yeah.
Wow.
My business partner.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. So you went to LA, you did that little bit of acting, but then somehow music has come into it.
Well, yeah, I'm still acting. I'm still doing a bit of that stuff. But music, I learned how to speak English on the stage during musicals and stuff. I've always been singing, and it's always been a part of what I wanted to do. I just sort of never really had the opportunity to cut an album before. Yeah. So I was always performing. And I was always writing music. But this was the first time that I actually had somebody else give me a vote of confidence and say, hey, here's some money toward a demo.
Who did that?
I was in New York at a restaurant, and I like my wine, so I had a couple of wines. And somebody said, oh, I hear you're an opera singer. And
an opera singer?
Yeah, I'm actually an opera singer.
Classically trained?
Classically. I was with Opera New Zealand for a couple of years.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
cool.
And they said, sing me an aria, and I was sure. Got up and sang, and
did you hop onto the table?
Not quite, but the whole restaurant was dead silent and applauded and whatnot. And then somebody came up and said, hey, what are you doing now? Are you pursuing this? And I was like, laughing it off as is natural, and somehow. He came through and gave me some money for a demo, and then from there I got more investors involved, and I've got 4 investors that did the album with me.
Gosh, there's musicians here in New Zealand that would just kill for opportunities like that, So right place, right time kind of stuff, and the talent.
Look,
as well.
it totally is the right place, the right time, but it's also, I think it's also the fact that you have to be a natural hustler a little bit and sort of keep following up. And when people say, I'm going to give you money, just keep calling and say, hey, how you were going to give me money? Keep following up on it, and, you get there.
So you could have been New Zealand's Hayley Westerner if you'd stuck around here.
Look, she's done really well. I'd be happy to be a Hayley Westerner any day.
But you've decided to not explore so much that opera side of yourself, but.
Well, the opera's actually in my music. It's not so much in the single that's been released here, but if you listen to the album, there's a lot of opera in the background, and it comes in as a character.
Yeah.
The initial song that I did as a demo was actually house music with opera, sort of like fifth element, a little bit.
Right.
That sort of sound.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't create an album because I don't write like that naturally.
Yeah.
So unless I'm working with a DJ, I'm finding it really hard to write songs like that. So my songwriting's a little bit more Europop, I think.
We're just listening to Cyberspace in the background here now, and the vocal kind of reminds me of almost like a jazz sort of vocal, like a smoky bar sort of
my band
backroom jazz type.
My band in New York actually, they're all jazz musicians.
Huh.
And there are a lot of them. No, 3 of them are from New Orleans, and it's one of these. I think the jazz is definitely in my voice. And if you're coming to the launch party tonight, you'll hear me do one jazz number.
Right. Oh, cool. Well, and of course with that classical training, obviously there's no need for a vocoder in your music, which is the fashion at the moment.
It is. That's true. Actually, I just cut a new demo of some stuff, and the producer came back to me and was like, "We don't have to touch it." It was great. So I was so happy to get that, especially from somebody who's a reasonably big producer there, to be impressed. So that was nice.
There's a small sort of burgeoning Kiwi scene really in LA at the moment as well.
Absolutely.
Do you hook up with any of the Kiwi guys like Greg Johnson?
Greg Johnson and I, we're really good friends.
Bo Runger's over there as well.
I haven't seen Bo Runger. I hang with a sort of a largely East Coast and New Zealand Kiwi sort of crew. East Coast meaning New York and so forth. And also Canadians, because I think we all have a similar sense of humour.
Yeah.
Greg Johnson is a good friend. We have a bunch of other sort of New Zealanders who are coming over there. In
like Liam Finn spends a lot of time over there as well. I don't know if you've come across him.
I've come across him. I don't know him, but I have met him.
When people first meet you there, do they think you're American?
Depends if I'm using my American accent.
Yeah. Because you got to do that to be understood, right?
Well, 24/7 I actually talk like this usually, because otherwise you can ask for a water so many times. You say, can I have a water, please? Can I have a water, please? And they go, what? Huh?
Yeah.
Can I get a water, please?
Yeah.
It's like straight away. It's like, But at most, my boyfriend, for instance, hates it when I use my American accent because he just loves the New Zealand accent.
Right. Because the reason why I say that, because I've noticed up on YouTube there's a video of you singing the Star Spangled Banner at is it a baseball game?
I sing well, I don't know which one that is actually. I've got a few out there, but it's I've sung the American, so it's Star Spangled Banner, which is the American anthem. God Bless America, America the Beautiful. Trust they have 3 songs, right?
Yeah.
So I sing all of those songs for different sporting events. From like baseball, I did my first ice hockey game the other day.
But isn't it rare for Americans to entrust particularly those all American, that you can't get more American kind of songs?
Well, singing in Texas, I tell you one thing. That was the one place where I said, can you just say I'm from LA? Because they always introduce you as this is Nadine Loren from New Zealand.
Yeah, right. Everyone's like, oh no, what's she going to do?
Yeah.
She's going to ruin this for us.
Well,
the game is not going to go very well.
The only time that I've ever had anyone give me flack over it was when I did, ironically, the LA Dodgers, and it was 44,000 people, and I had 2 bloggers the next day going, a New Zealand, a Kiwi singing an American national anthem, outrage,
Those damn bloggers.
But it just, I think if they remembered me enough to be that annoyed about it, to write about it, then it's probably a good thing.
But this is obviously quite a good gig. I mean, separate to the album, to the music you're doing, this on the side must be a pretty.
There's a lot of musicians who've broken like this. There was Josh Groban, for instance. He did a lot of anthems in his time.
Yeah.
And it just allows me to be in front of an audience of 44,000 people who would never know my name or would never check out my stuff. And I do notice a difference in my website hits and people looking me up and so forth after I do one of those. And if nothing else, it helps with your show preparation because singing at Madison Square Garden is insane, and it does also open up other opportunities. I was doing anthems for An America the Beautiful for the professional bull riding of all things. and I've been touring with them through America.
Right.
And then they just asked me, Nadine, can you do a short set of your own songs, actually country music songs they asked me to do, with a country music artist at the Vegas finals, the finals that are being held in Vegas. And that was pretty cool because I got to meet Sean Patrick McGrath, who's a great country singer, and sing a bit of country, pretend to be June Carter.
Yeah. Sounds like so much fun. Well, the album is called
Living in Wonderland.
Living in Wonderland, and it's out now in New Zealand, finally. And no doubt we'll be hearing lots more from you, Nadine.
Great.
And hopefully you'll come back and perhaps do some gigs for everyone as well.
I think I'll be back in probably February or March for a proper tour.
Cool. Well, we're going to play the single that has been released as well, Look Me in the Diamonds. And there's also a video on YouTube while we're checking out as well. Nadine, thanks so much. Nice to meet you.
Thanks for having me.